The Old Testament is no joke, okay? The New Testament is fine. Nothing wrong with the New Testament if you understand what the Old Testament is saying. Because the whole book, from Genesis to Revelation, is an esoteric writing. And what the initiates did, no matter whether the Catholic Church believed in telling you and sought that thing, Roman government sought that thing up as Jesus and sought it up as John the Baptist, and John the Baptist is the messenger, and Jesus is the one that John sought it up to come before Jesus and all that other stuff. Them initiates, no matter what all that stuff in Christianity and the Catholic Church have taught, them initiates took that book and they coded that book from Genesis to Revelation. That is what they call the ones of the light, the true illuminated ones. The illuminated ones tampered with that book and gave you what you need to have, okay? That's why Thought brought that book to me, but he brought it to me with understanding. When he was flipping the pages, he would let me know you cannot literally read this book. It's going to take the spirit of truth to be able to interpret it, and the only one who could be able to interpret it is one of the ones that wear the white hat. And that one have to have a relationship with you if you're going to know what that book is. And I have a relationship with the Ancients of Days. The Ancients of Days came to the Son of Man with the clouds. And that's my testimony. And that's why I talk like I do. That's why I teach like I do. You don't see no one else teaching like this at this particular time of human history. I'm not just anybody, although I may look just like everybody else. I'm not. And you could hear what's coming out of my head that's totally different. And you'll know that. When it said, when the Spirit of truth shall come, you need to see this. It's very important. Now let's deal with it, because you need to know this great authority. What is the great authority when you're dealing with the United States? The great authority is the manifest destiny. The manifest destiny comes from the doctrine of discovery. And you need to know what the manifest destiny is. What is it all about, the manifest destiny? It is the idea that the United States is destined by God. Now, it's destined by God. Now, who said it's destined by God? Man righteousness say that. Man righteousness say that. The dragons say that. Satan. Man righteousness say that. You got to understand, it is destined by God. It advocates the belief to expand its dominion and spread democracy and capitalism across the entire North American continent. Where did they get it from? That manifest destiny comes from the Catholic thing, discovery doctrine. Or some say doctrine of discovery. You need to know what that authority is that they're talking about. That's man. 6 is a man number. That's a man number. The number 6 is man number. And man righteousness is like filthy rags. And the Revelation is trying to tell you through the initiates, so you can know that when you got an initiate, they could bring these truths to you. What is the doctrine of discovery is about? The doctrine of discovery, what came before that and what taxed on that? Because what do it say? The first beast gave the power to the second beast. The first beast suffered a deadly wound. And the second beast got that power. Who got that power? The United States took that to the next level. The second beast. And you got to see what these beasts are. The beasts are nation. Was Rome a nation or not? The Vatican had Rome, which is a nation in Italy. Understand this now. Some call it the little horn. And you got to see what's going on, because you need to know this now. The doctrine of discovery established a spiritual, political, and legal justification for colonizing and sieging of land not inhabited by Christians. Okay, we'll read this again. establish a spiritual, political, and legal justification for the colonization and seizure of land not inhabited by Christians. Okay, now let's look at this now, because William Penn told you when he came here, these peoples in America, these dark-skinned peoples in America, or these native peoples in America, was walking around like Hebrews. Okay, so Hebrews wasn't known as no darn Christians now. So why it was easy for them to take your land? Because you was a Hebrew. You was acting like a Hebrew. You was not walking around like no Christian. So they had a right to take your land, and they took your land. They had the authority. The authority said great authority. Great authority come from where? The Vatican. Come from where? The dragon. Because everything the Vatican is doing is built upon, everything they're doing is built upon the ideology. Now understand this now. The ideology that had been handed down at the time of Ptolemy the First, when he had his son to compile the Septuagint, which is where the Old Testament comes from, and what the Septuagint was. He took the knowledge of Egypt. They took the knowledge of Egypt, and what they did with that knowledge, they made it so the Greeks, or the Macedonians as we would say, and the Greek could take that knowledge, and in Alexander, where they had all these scholars and all this ism and all this, they had that where you could take that and convert it so you could show Serapis, Christus, and not Osiris, Isis, and Horus. And that's when you messed everything up. And to the day, they still using that same game on you when they brought you Jesus. Now I know a lot of brothers and sisters ain't want to hear this, because before I knew thought, I probably been one of them ones that, hey, no, brother, you got to come up with something. No, you got to come up with some knowledge. Why do you think I've been feeding you this knowledge for 6 years? 6+ years now. Why? Why did I start from the bottom and work up to the top, to right here? You didn't hear me talking like this about your Jesus then. No, I told you about thought. I told you about thought was a savior, but I ain't. Because that ain't your Jesus. That's a made up image that they have given you. And what they did, you were so in the Middle East, and not the Middle East, in Africa, North Africa, you wanted a Messiah 2,000 years ago, and you wanted to be delivered from the Romans 2,000 years ago. So Titus, Vespasian, Josephus, the Alexanders, the Flavors gave you a Messiah. They gave you a Messiah. You wanted it so bad back then, they gave you one. Because you wouldn't bring nothing. You wouldn't bring nothing to their idols. You would not give no money. You would not give no presents, no gifts to their temple. You would not worship Caesar as a god. You would do none of that. So they made you a Jesus, a Yahshua. And then later, Constantine made your Yahshua a god. And now you want to fight me and be mad at me for coming teaching you the truth. That's why he said, this day will be like the days of Lot. These days will be like the days of Jonah. These days will be like the days of Noah. You think I appreciate, I know how some of you feel about me teaching you this. I know you don't like it. You think I ain't got no feelings? But I got to do God's will. I got to do God's will. Whether you like it or don't like it, I got to do it. Because what did he say to Ezekiel? If you don't tell them the truth, their blood is going to be on your hand. So you got to tell them the truth, son of man. So you want my blood, your blood on my hand, because you don't want to hear the truth like no other people was? Or you don't want to hear the truth like Lot people was? Time when all them homosexuals running around? Come on now. You don't want to hear the truth. I can't help it. Turn the channel. But I got to give it to you. People, I got to give you the truth. Because it's my responsibility. It's like Elijah said, if Baal God be God, follow Baal. But if my God be God, follow me. Because that's what's finna happen. You finna find out in these years to come, my peoples, in this zeitgeist time, you're going to find out by God. You're going to find out by God. Because you see what happened in Europe with them warlords? See, we at the end of the warlords. We have to go into this other age. And you got to understand. See, you never had trenches dug and people behind you blowing hundreds of thousands of people's brains out and burying you in a trench. You ain't ever had that. It happened in Europe, in Eastern Europe, Western Europe. It happened over there. Do you think that because it happened over there, it cannot happen over here? Come on now, God don't want it to happen over here. That's why he want to get you to get your act together. Because America only have, people, America ain't but 4.2% of the population of the world. The European part with America ain't but 12.4% of the population. Where's all the peoples at? They over there. They got the technology now. The warlords could come this way, people, and God don't want that. And that's why he wants you to wake up and unify yourself. See, you think them people don't know what this land is over here? You the one don't know. When I come tell you and show you Florida and Israel and where the Bible say would be no more from Egypt, but it be from the land of the north, you think this is a joke? I show you how you could see Florida. And you could see the river like the Dead Sea and then the Jordan River and going up to the other river, the river of Galilee and then up to the upper Galilee. And you got the same thing coming from Lake Okeechobee up to the lake, that's Lake Wells there, and then the upper part to another lake. You see the curvature of Florida going like this. You see the curvature of the Mediterranean going like this. You got to understand this in topographics, people. You got to understand the arts. He said the arts is the glory of thy strength. And I don't mean to holler, but people, this is no time to be playing around. This is no time. This is time you get your act together. This is time you to drop them old churches that don't know what time it is, so you could go where you need to go to. Because see, they holding you. They holding you. They see you as a sheep. They know you a sheep. And they holding them sheep. It's a new shepherd in town. God have called me to call you out from the environment so you could walk and save your family, because the scriptures say, if I do not cut time short, there will be no flesh saved, but for the very elect I shall cut time short. And you need to see this, my people. You need to see it. It's very important to see this now. It's very important. Let me go on. I don't want to make this long, but I want to make it plain enough for you to understand the significance of it. Okay? You need to understand the significance of this right now. We are talking about the mark of the beast. You need to know about the mark of the beast. You need to know. Let's deal with Isaiah. Isaiah 64:6. But we are all as an unclean thing, and all our righteousness are as filthy rags, and we all do fade as the leaf, and our iniquity like the wind have taken us away. You got to see that now, because see, you got up here where you got this F at, you got this F, you got an S. Okay? You got an H and a U over here. These are other parts. That secondary thing right there is dealing with Satan. Underneath that F here, you got fear, faith, and fun. You got the S there. That's dealing with Satan. You got to understand these arts. What about over here? over here you got the U and you got the H, okay? And what the U is, what did he just say? Your righteousness is like filthy rag. It's about you, okay? And it's about, the H is about him. Now, what you gonna do? Are you gonna be with him, with God, with the true God? Or are you gonna be with the him that they done gave you? Okay? Because what is Yahweh? What is Yahweh? You, him, we, him. You, him, we, him. You're God's people, and God want to bring you to that next level where you were not able to go 2,000 years ago because it was not time for you to go. That's why they tell you a second coming. What was that Son of Man supposed to do? What was his main things that he's supposed to do when he came on the scene? The Son of Man supposed to bring into being a nation that will rule the world for 1,000 years. What was the next thing he was to bring on the scene? Eternal life. Changing your body from mortal to immortality. You tell me, in 2,000 years, have you had a nation to rule this earth for 1,000 years? You tell me. Do you have a body? You have people that have a body that change from mortal to immortality. You tell me. The reason you have them because they created you a Jesus. They created you a Yahshua. And you never had it. That's why you've been talking about a second coming. And don't realize the first coming had not came because you did not know the odds. And when they taught you the Bible, they taught you it literally. They were not going to give you the odds because if they gave you the odds and they gave you the knowledge, you knew what they had done created was a fake. That's why it was hard when the Catholic Church trying to keep the Knight Templars in line. And although they shaped them and created them, but when the Knight Templars went over to Egypt, they found out the truth. And them Knight Templars are here in this country. And they made sure you get this book. And you got to see this truth. You got to see this truth, people. That's why the Catholic priest came over here some years ago and tried to get the churches in cahoots with him. He knows what time it is, and he knows that if you're going to rule for 1,000 years and you're going to be who you claim to be, you got to do it from this soil. And I don't mean to holler, but this thing is real, my people. You got to do it from here. This is the land of milk and honey here. This is where the fountain is at. This is why when you see Aquarius and he told him the pitcher of water, what's in that water, in that pitcher? Where he got that water from? Nobody talk about it. From the fountain. From the fountain. You got to see this, my people. When the French came over here, the 1400s, etc., and they were looking for the Florida list, and there was a religious posse of enlightened ones. Even when you go back and look at Pastor Leon, he was an aristocrat. He was an aristocrat. He wasn't on anybody. Why would an aristocrat spend all them thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in today's day and millions of dollars to come over here looking for a fountain of youth? Why? See, you never think beyond the righteousness of man. But God got it all laid out. When he tell you about Hagar and in the wilderness by the fountain. It's trying to talk to you, my people. But if you keep trying to literally read this and follow behind those individuals who intention was right, but you can't just worry about their intentions no more. Because they're holding you down and you don't know it. People, this is about the saints of God. I don't care what color you are. This is about the saints of God. Black folks, if you want to be where you're supposed to be, you better see yourself as a saint of God. And get out of this unchosen, this cause of the color of your skin and all this nonsense, but your heart ain't right. Your soul ain't where it need to be. Come on, that ain't no good no more. You got to show by example you are one of God's chosen. Not by what you say. That's why y'all stuck on Africa, because the Eurocentric man done told you you all came from Africa and you stuck on stupid. So by you stuck on stupid and that knowledge of the authority of them teaching you that, they got you hung up in that beastly attitude. And you don't even know it. 6 all over your face and you ain't even aware of it. Because it stay there. Oh, they's telling me right. I need to be a Hebrew Israelite. I need to go back to Africa. I need to do this. And God done made this land here. The other Africa that you don't know nothing about it. Been here. When Hermes or when Thoth left from this way and he went over to Egypt and established the Egyptians and the pyramid and all that stuff, where do you think he came from? He came from here. He came from here. But it's time now for this to be brought back up. And that's what the scriptures say. I know no longer the children of Israel talked about coming out of Africa or coming out of Egypt, but from the north country. From the north country. That's here, my people. And they're not teaching you this. You're not learning this kind of philosophy and knowledge in your church. You ain't learning none of this. Why? Because they don't know. They are not chosen for this time. Because if they will be chosen, they'll be beating my door down, telling my brother, hey, I'm with you. It ain't nothing happening like that. So they got you in grips. And I'm saying to you like Elijah said to the people, if my God be God, follow me. But if Baal God be God, you follow him. That's just how it is. Because Daniel said, some gonna shine as the firmament, and some gonna go into everlasting contempt. And we need to see this. Let's go and deal with this. What I want to do, I want to go and I want to bring the names out. I got to talk about the names of the people. I don't want to get too rallied up that I can't cool down and talk about these great people who is here for this organization. And I'm saying that because I want to see some new names on this board too. I want you ones that sitting in the background back there that ain't coming forth. I need you to come forth now. We need to build this organization. I need you to come forth. I need to see some new names all across this board. And I need that now to see. Marcia Gordon, and you got to see Marcia on, and I'd like you to go and look at the food video. That's Marcia Gordon. She's kind enough to give us some understanding about eating, etc., and how to fix certain things. There's going to be many more videos on there, and you need to know that. You need to know that. She'll give you an idea that you can work with. You need to know about your food and your eating habits, okay? We got Leon James, Marvin G., Adrian D. Herman, Tamira C. Fandale. We got a new one, Gus Roberts. And also, we got the Nephites, that's Devin and Richard. Okay, Jeremiah Brown, Jamie Stockner, Amelia St. Clair, Antoinette McMullen, Nicole Brown. We got also Nancy Randolph, Miss Nancy Randolph, Lord Hill, and Miss Clara Wood. And I thank God for those individuals. Like I say, we need many, many more new names to put on these boards so we can see that you are down with us, you're helping us, and helping God move this so these people can learn these truth wisdom. Let's go on over here. We're going to deal with the part that you're familiar with. This is something that you're familiar with, something I learned when I was a young kid, when I was in the church. You have more like a Seventh-day Adventist and Jehovah's Witness. I think the Seventh-day Adventists, they talk about this more than other individuals, but they don't get into this here part, these arts here. They get into the craft. They don't get into the arts like this, okay? Now, Faseli Afiadia, what is Faseli Afia? The vicar or representative of the Son of Man. Now, you got to understand what happened. They used Malachi I think it's 4 or 5, and to show you from the Old Testament that John the Baptist will come on the scene. What's going on? Oh, I'm sorry. John the Baptist will come on the scene, and John the Baptist, he came on the scene, and then what you had when they told you going to send Elijah for the great and dreadful day of the Lord, they said, I'm going to send my messenger, and they made John the Baptist this messenger, okay? Now, John the Baptist is not a historical figure, but they made John the Baptist the messenger, and you need to see this. Now, what happened was that when they, Titus them created you the Jesus character, who played the part, Titus played the part of that in so many ways, and Josephus managed to take some of the ideas of that Son of Man and apply it to Titus' life, and etc. And the best way for you to see what I'm saying is you need to get the book of Josephus. Get the book of Josephus. I think one time they had Josephus' book in the Bible, but they had to take that out, because if you had Josephus' book in the Bible today, you would have a conflict of interest, because people be figuring out and reading